Hi, I'm Fantasai, and I'm here in Lyon at TPAC for a meeting with all of the members of the W3C. The Wednesday of TPAC is a plenary day where we get to do breakout sessions, and Marcos and I did a breakout session on spec editing best practices. A spec editor at W3C is responsible for a lot of things. We have to triage the issues, go through the issues, come up with proposals, help collect ideas, present them to the working group and get feedback, and edit them into the spec. Part of editing the spec, however, is also you want to have a good spec, one that's readable and understandable, so we went over some of the advices for writing a good spec. Some of the points that were brought up were included to start with an overall model before you dig into each of the details, to organize your sections with the overview of the feature and the description, and then slowly get into the more fiddly details so that when an author is looking through a spec, they can see the things and understand basically what's going on before it gets into weird details that only implementers need to know. Another idea was to periodically read your spec from the top all the way to the bottom, straight through, because some people do that, and then you want it to make sense so that when you're down here, you're not referring to concepts that define below, so that people can understand the spec. We wanted to encourage people to use lots of figures and example to break up the normative prose, to keep the figures and examples close to whatever point they're just illustrating. Don't use figures and examples instead of normative prose, because it doesn't make for a very precise spec. So you want the normative prose and the examples together, they work together to make the spec clear. We encourage people to go over the table of contents and make sure everything is well organized, and that the headings actually make sense and help the people reading the table of contents to see immediately which section they want to get to. So you want not just the name of the method, but also a description of it in the heading. And then also we went over some of the detailed technical things like using source control, using a preprocessor like BikeShed or Respec, so that you get good crosslinks, using manual IDs that are not automatically generated so that the IDs stay stable across revisions as you edit your spec. And we also talked about things like how to file a good issue, which includes making sure you describe the problem and the use cases, not just some particular solution you want to have, and also how to respond to issues, which the editor is responsible for, is to state the decision that was made, the rationale for it, a link to whatever may have changed in the spec, and to invite the commenter to respond to say whether they are happy with the resolution or if they have further concerns or further feedback to give on the endpoint. So that's a brief summary of the advice for W3C spec editors, and I hope that was useful to you.